this is an American victory? Is this what victory tastes like? Because it's pretty goddamn sour to me.
It's allegedly Wednesday, and here's what we're buzzing about at News Beast. We've got Michael Ware, legendary war correspondent and turned Hollywood producer, which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
but
natural progression.
It's a natural progression, and one that we all aspire to. Lucas
Indeed.
Whitman in the house. Michael.
Yes.
All right, man, I got a question for you. You spent a lot of time over in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
Now the U.S. withdrawal is beginning in earnest. Karzai is acting more, shall we say, complicated than ever. And U.S. approval for the war is at an all-time low. When you look at all that you experienced and saw and the sacrifice you saw and see this ending to the war, what do you think? What do you feel?
What do I think? What do I feel? Well, one has to ask, what was it all for? Was it for naught? I remember back in 2001 when we all first went there after the events of 9/11. The purpose was to hunt down and disrupt or destroy Al-Qaeda so that they no longer had bases from which to operate to export their particular brand of terrorism. All right, well, that was done back then. We've now had a decade of blood and sweat and certainly a lot of tears in that country, be it American, be it Afghan, be it Pakistani. What's happening now? Well, we're pulling out. And look, who isn't tired of the almost daily drip feed of misery or of American blood that's being spent or that's coming from Afghanistan? So you can understand that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want this pain to come to an end? However, the course that we're on right now, you would need someone to dissuade you from the view that we're going to be back to a pre-9/11 situation. Because once we pull out, what's in place? Do we have an Afghan government? Do we have one that's effective? And what's to prevent more terrorist bases, more mayhem that is of a kind that we saw after the withdrawal following the defeat of the Soviets?
What's your take on Karzai and the re-rise of the Taliban?
Those boys never went anywhere. And they knew that they could just play the long game. Because they're actually very bloody good at that.
Yeah.
So right now, you'd have to chalk this up as a Taliban win. Now, in the vacuum that will follow, without a shadow of a doubt.
All right.
Without a shadow of a doubt. What, this is an American victory? Is this what victory tastes like? Because it's pretty goddamn sour to me. Particularly if, as we say, the objective was to root out terrorists or deny them bases or facilities within the Afghan sphere. Okay, well, we're pulling out, so what's going in place? Not a great deal, so what's to prevent a reoccurrence of the primary objective that we went there for in the first place, just with 10 years of blood added onto it?
But to be fair, I mean, bin Laden's been killed, a lot of the top Al-Qaeda leaders have been killed.
Right.
Al-Qaeda's in a sort of destabilized and in a
Well, I think that would be
terrible shape.
news to Al-Qaeda.
Really?
That they're destabilised and in terrible shape. I think that would be news to Al-Qaeda.
Okay, so we're
But you don't think Al-Qaeda is as strong as it once was? Maybe the Taliban never went anywhere, but
Yeah,
Al-Qaeda is pretty
Al-Qaeda,
operationally
look,
compromised.
When Al-Qaeda was planning 9/11, they knew what would come. They knew that the Americans would come to seek them out. So before 9/11, they became an organisation prepared to go underground. Because 2 days before 9/11, they assassinated the
2001.
only
2001.
Afghan leader that America could have turned to. So that act of premeditation alone says to me that, okay, Al-Qaeda may be under pressure. It may have been displaced. It may have indeed been disrupted, as it has been unquestionably. And we need to keep the pressure on. But is it ineffective? Has it been crippled? Does it no longer have harbour in Yemen, in Africa,
Somalia.
even in Pakistan itself? Whilst we can all rejoice in the homecoming, in inverted commas, it nonetheless gives me great pause.
The warning from Michael Ware is sort of sobering. But we'll see. I look forward to reading your pieces in Newsweek.
Oh, so will I.
I love it. Final word.
Huh?
Final word.
Huh?
All right. Lucas?
confused.
Really?
Is anybody watching?
Yes, they are.
Are you sure about that?
Pretty sure. I've seen the numbers. I'm going punter. That's all for us from News
Are they in
today.
double figures?
This is Dude Beast, actually. I like this.
Nude,
This is a very
dude,
good case of Dude Beast. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow. While we try to keep Michael Ware close.